book lovers. It is GSwiz here, and I'm here today to do the Intimidating Tbr Tag. This is technically the third time that I've done it on my channel, but the answers do change from time to time based on your TBR, how your TBR does change. My TBR is intimidating in different ways than it was a few years ago. If you want to see my previous Intimidating TBR tags, I can link them down in the description if you want to check those out, so you can get the gist of how my TBR has changed over the years. And what I absolutely love about this tag is that there are so many different kinds of prompts for the different intimidating books that are on your TBR. I guess without further ado, I'm going to get started into the tag for you guys. So prompt number one of this tag is, what book have you been unable to finish? I haven't mentioned this on my channel. I didn't even mention that I started it, but I tried starting it towards the end of the year, and I try my best towards the end of the year to not get committed to like binge reading series, because I tend to do that throughout the year so that I can start and complete a series. I decided to pick up a standalone, and that standalone was Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia. I tried with this book, and I tried to continue on with it. I think I got around halfway through it. I don't even remember what happens, but what I do know is that I was dragging my way through it. I do kind of want to continue this book or to restart it because I don't remember anything about it at this point. But what I do know is that I found it really difficult to be engaged, and like, it has a really cool concept. I have so much regret not getting through it, not continuing on with it, or at least not restarting it at the time, because my mind was so preoccupied with so many things that I wasn't really enjoying what I was reading. Yeah, I think I started this the end of my vacation of last year with Camilo. I ended up getting through Where Dreams Descend during that time, and then I wanted to read a second book on my vacation, and that just never happened. I might reread it, I might not. It really depends on the mood that I'm in. And then we come to prompt number two of this tag. What book do you have yet to read but you have not had the time? This book series has been on my TBR for a few years, and I think the reason why I have not had the time for it is because I decided I wanted to do a reading vlog experience of it. But yeah, now that I'm building that up within my mind, I get very intimidated by it due to the fact that I don't have that much time in my life. That, my friends, is the Talon Saga by Julie Kagawa. I work a full-time corporate job in a very high performance industry. So reading vlogs, you're pretty lucky that you do receive them sometimes, because honestly, it's really hard for me to have the time to be able to do them. And I do enjoy doing them. I want to keep doing them because I like making them. It's just, it eats up into my work-life balance, which I already struggle to have anyway. When it comes to this series, this is a 5-book series, and I really want to binge read this series. That being said, because binge reads are funner when I'm doing a reading vlog, I've really kind of encouraged myself to wait until I'm ready to do a full-on reading vlog for this series. So yeah, we're gonna see how that goes. So far, no luck. I have just been really contemplating it this whole time, and I've just been thinking to myself, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna get to it. I don't feel like doing a reading vlog for a 5-book series. The Remnant Chronicles reading vlog was very fun to do, but also very heartbreaking. So I'm hoping that by the end of the series, when I read it, I actually don't regret the reading vlog experience. I'm reading it for the first time, and I actually enjoy it. I'm hoping that that's the case. We'll see. Prompt number 3 is, what book do you have yet to read because it's a sequel? And I have 2 for this one. So first of all, I'm gonna start off with a book that's not really a deliberate sequel. It's the spin-off to Remnant Chronicles, Dance of Thieves. I started this book this week and I put it down. The reason why I started it and I put it down is because I'm so scared that I'm gonna be let down, just like the Remnant Chronicles. Just like the mentions of Morgan and Venda and the terms such as like the Queen and the Commissar and all that stuff. It is triggering me because I hated the ending or like the last book of the Remnant Chronicles. It burnt me that much that when I started reading this book, all of a sudden I had so much hatred within me that I had to stop reading it. You guys might be thinking that I'm probably just reading it so close to after I've read the series. No, it's been 6 months. I just can't stand the thought of how it ended and everything. And so I wanted to follow these characters and continue on with this world. And I think that, I don't know, like maybe I would have been better off if I didn't read the Remnant Chronicles before the series, because I really do want to enjoy the series as much as the people who do enjoy the series do. And some people say that it's better than the Remnant Chronicles, or some people who like the Remnant Chronicles better don't like the series. I don't know. I don't like the Remnant Chronicles that much because I hate the last book and I hate the main love interest so much. So when it comes to this book, I'm super intimidated. I really want to read it, and I do understand that some people who don't like the Remnant Chronicles as much say that it's better, but still, I have many flashbacks of hate when it comes to the Remnant Chronicles that it's really hard for me to want to read this book. So yes, I'm very intimidated by this duology, and I'm hoping that that eases because I would love to read this duology and get invested in it. And the second out of the 2 sequels that I gotta mention is a sequel that technically came out a year ago now that I still have not read. I really actually need to reread the series in order to read the sequel because there's so much that I've probably forgotten by now that I think it's just too far gone for me. And that, my friends, is Imagine Me, the final book of the Shadow Me series or the Juliet Chronicles. I have not yet read this book and I purchased it, I think, a bit too late due to the lockdowns that every country had to go through. It took me around, I'd say, 6 months after the book release to have actually purchased it. I finally did purchase it because it just kept on going out of stock, and this particular edition that I wanted was never available in my country to purchase. Honestly, book buying was so difficult this time last year. Finally purchased it. By the time that it came, I realized I've forgotten almost everything about the series. It's been that long. I need to reread the series before I read the finale, but the problem is that is just way too intimidating. So of course, this is on my intimidating TBR. Prompt number 4 is, what is a book that you have yet to read because it's brand new? And for this one, I mean, I am okay with sticking to new releases. Like, I get really hyped up for them that I read them almost straight away sometimes. But in this case, I have not read Muse by Brittany Cavallaro. I have to admit, this was kind of a cover buy. I really love the cover. From what I know about this book, it is a historical fiction that has to do with American royals. Interesting. And also, I wanted to read the Sherlock Holmes series. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Sherlock Holmes. I have so many friends who are like diehard fans of those kind of franchises and stuff, but I've never really been into them. However, I know that so many people in the booktube community love the Sherlock Holmes series, and so I was intrigued by Brittany Cavallaro as an author back then, and I still need to get my hands on all of those books. Oh my goodness. And then I saw this cover, everyone hyping it up, and they're like, oh my god, I'm so excited for Muse. I literally just picked this up and I barely know anything about it. I think it's gonna make for a great read. I just need to motivate myself to read it straight away. Prompt number 5. What is a book that you have yet to read because you read a book from the same author and you didn't enjoy it? And this isn't necessarily a book that is on my shelf. I think I've noticed that I've technically kept either my favorite authors on my shelves or just like authors that I've either read from that I've enjoyed or I haven't read from yet. I mean, I could go with Marie Lu, but I don't have any books on my TBR by Marie Lu besides the second Sky Hunter book, which I don't own yet because it's not out. But then again, I'm excited for the second Sky Hunter book because I enjoyed Sky Hunter. So there's that. What I do have to mention is a book that I've considered putting on my TBR that I haven't yet because I didn't like the finale to this author's previous series. And I'm not saying that I don't like this author's writing. I do like the author's writing. I just don't appreciate the finale as much. And that, my friends, is Circle of Shadows by Evelyn Skye, who is the author of the Crown's Game duology, which is a duology I really enjoyed up until the second book. I love the first book of the Crown's Game. It was really good. Oh my goodness. I highly recommend that series. But if you're also into mediocre sequels, you can also read The Crown's Fate. It's just okay. Like, I didn't really like The Crown's Fate, and I think that it was just a lot of wasted potential. It could have been a trilogy, and we could have had a third book where things were just a bit more resolved. Probably would have worked better as a trilogy, or maybe even better as a standalone. I don't know. But what I do know is that the second book suffered from second book syndrome. And with Circle of Shadows, I've noticed that the reviews are just like okay about it. I don't know if it's because people preferred the first book in the Crown's Game or the Crown's Game in general. I don't know. I've considered putting this book or the series on my TBR for a while, and I just don't know because I did not enjoy the finale of the Crown's Game duology. And I'm not saying that Evelyn Skye is a bad writer because I really enjoyed the Crown's Game. It was one of my favorite fantasy books ever at the time. And yes, it's kind of unfortunate that it got an okay sequel, but what can we do? Prompt number 6 is, what is a book that you have yet to read because you're just not in the mood for it? And this is a book that I think I attempted to start 2 weeks ago, and I just did not start it because I didn't want something that was super heavy or like super like world building orientated. I just wanted an easy read. So I kind of read Havenfall in its place, but I was going to start Gideon the Knight by Tamsin Muir. I wanted to jump on the hype train so bad. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, like there was the houses. I think when I started reading the houses, I'm like, I am going to get lost. There are too many houses right now, and I feel like reading something lighter, so I don't know if I'm in the mood to pick this up. And I might be in the mood to pick this up soon. I'm not saying that I'm not planning to pick it up because of the houses. No, like that's a stupid reason. But I wasn't in the mood to read it as of recently. At the moment, I'm just a little bit intimidated, but I will get through it because, oh my goodness, I want to start this series, and it will happen soon. It's just, I'm a little bit intimidated by it. Or at least at the time that I started it, I was pretty intimidated by it. Prompt number 7, what is a book that you have yet to read because it's humongous? Funnily enough, I've actually started it and then did not continue. And that was like 6 months ago now. You guys might interpret this as 3 books because technically it actually actually is 3 books, but some people count it as 1, some people count it as 3. That, my friends, is 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. I purposely bought this in a 3-book box set because you can get it as a bind-up to be 1 book. I got halfway through the first part. I think I was enjoying it, but it was really slow to kick off with, and then I think in the middle it starts to get really interesting. And I know that a bunch of people have given up on this series. I'm not gonna give up that easily. No, I mean, it's Haruki Murakami. Like, I gotta be dedicated. I don't remember exactly how long 1Q84 is, but what I do know is that it's over 1,000 pages. And I think the reason why I stopped is because I wasn't reading for like 2 days and then I forgot everything that I had read previously. So I got lost and I just stopped with it. But I really do have to reread what I've already read and then continue on with it and see if the experience was worth it. I'm pretty sure that a bunch of people do say that it's worth it if you do like Haruki Murakami's style of writing. We are up to prompt number 8 now. What book do you have yet to read because it was a cover buy that ended up not having many great reviews? And I'm not saying that this did not have many great reviews. I think that some people did enjoy it, but the reviews are okay. I noticed one of the booktubers who I highly trusted gave a bad review for this book and like gave it 1 star. I really love the covers of the series so much. I want to keep collecting them because like they're so pretty. I'm 50-50 about it. That, my friends, is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Powell Preto. This entire trilogy has absolutely beautiful covers. I especially love the second one where the character is wearing a green dress on the front cover. It is gorgeous. I've heard bad reviews about this book series after I put it on my TBR. I am definitely conflicted and I am very much looking forward to starting this series, but I am intimidated because of that aspect. I'm definitely gonna go into this series with an open mind. We'll see how we go. Not only that, like these books are actually really thick. This book here, I'd say, is almost 500 pages, but the next book in this series is like a 600-page book. So they are pretty thick, boys. I'm hoping to get through them and I hope that I do enjoy this series. The final prompt is, what is the most intimidating book on your TBR? I could say book or I could say book series. It is definitely The Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I mean, it's pretty telling as it is that the editions that I have are split into 2 parts each. I have 6 books of this series on my shelf when I technically had 3 books. That's wild. The fact that they're so huge and they come out every few years. People have to reread these books to remember what happens when the next book comes out every time, and it really intimidates me. But also, a work colleague of mine found out that I read and he's like, well, have you read this series yet? I'm like, no. And he said, you are missing out. Like, this is peak stuff. This is like important. You can't say that you're a fantasy lover if you've never read this series. And yeah, that was a very interesting conversation that we had. I don't know. I'm like questioning whether I am actually a fantasy lover now because I have not yet read The Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. But one thing's for sure, I have the books on my shelf now. So I do have the intention of reading them. I just don't know when. So I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you happen to enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet already. Join the amazing community of book lovers. And also, I have social medias. I'm at gswizzelbooks on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/gswizzle. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.
Started out with half and I flipped it into double. Started out with half and I flipped it into double.